First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
Welcome to WUFT News First at 5. I'm Landry, Baliton.
And I'm Meleah, Lyden. Thanks for joining us. A judge rejects a plea deal for a hit-and-run defendant in a crash that killed a UF student walking to campus. Joshua Figueroa went to court yesterday to change his plea for the 2020 crash that killed Maggie Paxton as she crossed University Avenue. It took months for detectives to track down the car and driver. The judge said it was not a case he would be comfortable with, the minimum prison time of 4 years, even if the defendant agreed to a long 10 years of probation. The case could come back for sentencing in a month.
While many know him as the teen who suffered a fatal accident on a ride in Orlando's Icon Park, Tyree Sampson's loved ones remember him as much more. The St. Louis teen was visiting the theme park with his football team during spring break. Sampson's coach describes the boy as a good person with a bright future ahead of him.
The biggest thing is you don't question things that's supposed to happen if they teach you that, but when you got a good kid that, like I say, straight A student, never did anything wrong, never got in trouble, you know, you kind of question it, like, why him, you know? But I tell him to just stay strong and just keep his name alive.
Friends and family gathered by the ride to release balloons in his memory. As far as what caused the accident, the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services is still looking for an answer. Meleah, we got to enjoy another sunny afternoon.
It's been nice to get a break from what has seemed like a rainy month. WUFT meteorologist Justin Ballard joins us now with a look at how this evening looks if you want to go for a walk.
I'll tell you, it looks beautiful if you want to go for a walk. Thankfully, we're not talking about rain, at least not yet. So far this month, we've had over 11 inches as of yesterday's date. Now, our rainiest March on record, 1996, where we saw 11.13 inches. I think we'll come close to that by the end of this week. Visible satellite looking quiet here, not a cloud in the sky, or at least fairly few clouds in the sky locally. The clouds will be building though as we go through the day Wednesday and certainly into your Thursday. We've got beautiful blue skies over campus as we look towards the north over Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. Temperatures are in the lower 80s. Feels like temperatures are also in the lower 80s. We'll hold on to the warm weather through the overnight hours. Temperatures by the early morning hours only falling into the low 60s. And we've got the chance for rain and thunderstorms. I'll time that out coming up in just a few minutes. Back to you.
And here's a breath of fresh air. Walmart may take cigarettes off the shelves at some of its stores. Walmart will make this change at specific locations depending on the market. These locations have not been disclosed yet, but a Wall Street Journal report suggests Florida stores may be affected. This initiative comes after Walmart discontinued the sale of e-cigarettes and vapes back in 2019. Sam's Club has been in a phase out for 4 years. Now fewer than 40 of 600 locations still carry tobacco. According to health officials, 1 in 5 American deaths are due to smoking-related causes.
The Biden administration will ramp up requirements at the border for migrants to accept COVID vaccination or face deportation. The Biden administration plans to vaccinate undocumented migrants who cannot show proof of vaccination, according to the New York Times. Homeland Security officials are instructed to detain and deport single adults who refuse the COVID-19 vaccine. It is unclear if Biden will lift Title 42, allowing officials to reject migrants attempting to cross the border to reduce the spread of COVID. 2 years into the pandemic, the CDC is set to reconsider the need for this rule. Ukrainian migrants seeking asylum have also made their way to the U.S. border. One woman and her 3 children attempted to cross the border twice, but were rejected by patrol officers. An attorney helped them finally enter the United States to live under safer conditions. But leaving their old life behind has not been easy.
The most horrible thing in all of this, that we all had lives, beautiful lives, full of happiness and friends.
While the U.S. has not lifted migrant policies, Canada says it welcomes an unlimited number of Ukrainians who are seeking asylum.
President Biden today talking next steps to punish Russia and help Ukraine. On a call with European allies, that as Ukraine is making headway on the battlefield and there may be progress in peace talks being held in Turkey. The first time the Russian and Ukrainian delegations have met face-to-face in weeks.
Tentative hopes for progress today out of peace talks between Russia and Ukraine. As the two sides met in Turkey, Russian officials said that to increase trust, they would drastically reduce their military presence near the capital of Kyiv, where Russian forces have already been losing ground. But as attacks continue in other areas, President Biden urging caution.
We'll see. I don't read anything into it until I see what their actions are. We'll see if they follow through on what they're suggesting.
His Secretary of State echoing that.
There is what Russia says, and there is what Russia does. We're focused on the latter.
Earlier today, the president spoke with top European allies, weighing more assistance for Ukraine and vowing to stand firm until Russian aggression ends. Ukraine's president has said he's open to declaring his country neutral, ending a bid to join the NATO alliance. But he wants a new and even stronger security framework to guarantee Western protection if Russia attacks again.
They want a security guarantee like NATO allies have amongst themselves. That attack on one is an attack on all. That's a very high bar.
Ukrainian officials making their boundaries clear.
We never go for any compromise concerning our independence, concerning our sovereignty and territorial integrity.
Signs of hope for a pathway to peace, with significant hurdles along the way. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
You know, Meleah, I'm in the mood for some health news.
Well, you're in luck, Landry. There's an update on a new vaccine. The FDA has approved a second booster. Stick around after the break to find out who can get the shot.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
COVID News starts today's Look Under the Microscope as we look at health and medical news. The FDA announces it has approved the use of a second COVID-19 booster. Anyone 50 years and old and up can get a second boost of either Pfizer or Moderna. You'll just need to wait 4 months after the third jab to get the fourth shot. The ruling also included immunocompromised patients who are at least 12 years of age. Increasing protection against COVID is especially important with a new Omicron subvariant spreading. The FDA will meet in April to discuss making the fourth shot more widely available.
Meleah, here's another sign of progress against the pandemic. Today marks the last clinical mission for the U.S. military medical team in charge of helping COVID-19 patients. Over 4,000 medics have been deployed across the nation for the past 2 years. More than 65% of Americans are fully vaccinated, and COVID-19 hospitalizations are lower than ever. Although safety guidelines are still being encouraged, it is safe to say there is progress in the making. Meleah, I'm so glad to hear that we're finally making some progress.
And yes, Landry, and actually there's a new study revealing more children are developing prediabetes. In the last 20 years, rates of prediabetes in children have more than doubled. The JAMA Pediatrics Journal studied 12 to 19-year-olds. Common symptoms of prediabetes are high blood sugar levels and fatigue. Children with this condition face higher risk of stroke, heart disease, and developing type 2 diabetes. The World Health Organization says a balanced diet and healthy weight management can lower blood sugar.
Meleah, did you see the Oscars this weekend?
Yes, I did, Landry. And the incident at the Oscars began with a joke about an actress choosing to shave her head. TMZ reports Chris Rock didn't know that Jada Pinkett Smith has been making peace with an autoimmune disorder which causes hair to fall out. CNN's Mandy Gaither tells us more about this disease.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it.
A joke, a slap, and an unexpected spotlight now shining on a common autoimmune disease.
Y'all know I've been struggling with alopecia.
Actress Jada Pinkett Smith revealed her diagnosis in 2018. The condition results in the loss of hair.
It's estimated that about 200,000 Americans are affected by alopecia areata every year.
Dr. Alok Vij, a dermatologist with Cleveland Clinic, says alopecia typically starts before the age of 30, but can also begin later and starts with a small patch or clump of hair falling out.
There are very few cases where your hair can actually turn white as a sign that there's inflammation going on before you actually lose hair. But more commonly, you just notice that your hair just falls out in a small area.
If you lose a clump of hair, go see your doctor. It could be alopecia or maybe a sign of another illness.
autoimmune problems run together commonly. So we often will test for vitamin D deficiency or thyroid levels to make sure that we're not missing something else.
There's no cure, and treatments vary based on the severity of the condition. For mild alopecia, topical steroids or medications may be used. For more severe cases,
there are a number of other treatments that we have available, all designed to tease the immune system to work a little bit differently and stop attacking the hair follicle.
Meleah, it's been a pretty quiet weekend for weather so far.
But does it last much longer, Landry? For the details on that, let's check in with WUFT's Justin Ballard.
Well, I can tell you it is not going to last much longer. The Deep South is in store for another round of damaging storms tomorrow. Find out when those storms arrive in our area in my full forecast coming up.
You're watching WUFT TV News.
Well, we've enjoyed the sunshine over the last couple of days, and it's set to continue through the day tomorrow, but it will be warm and breezy. Let's take a look at current conditions out there right now over our campus cam. University of Florida, 84 right now, feels like 82. That's an indication of just how dry the atmosphere is. It's actually taking a couple of degrees off of the feels like temperature. Now, in the dead of summer, that is not going to be the case, but at least for now, we can enjoy that. Now, overnight tonight, we may see some patchy fog develop, especially after midnight. We're talking really the early morning hours, and temperatures, at least if you're planning on maybe having dinner outside later tonight, in the low 80s, falling into the upper 50s and low 60s by tomorrow morning. 59, that's where we're heading in Gainesville, 59 in Ocala, 59 as well. In Bronson, again, keep in mind you may have some fog to contend with, especially east of I-75, places like Palatka, St. Augustine, as well into Jacksonville. Highs tomorrow with a stout south-southeasterly wind of 10 to 15 miles per hour. You see those temperatures getting into the upper 80s. Gainesville, 89 in Ocala. I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of backyard locations see 90 degrees. The warmth will give way to showers and thunderstorms by Thursday, but at least for tomorrow, we do have patchy fog possible at 8 a.m. So again, as I mentioned, be mindful of that for that early morning commute. Becoming breezy by the noon hour, temperatures by this point will likely be in the upper 70s and lower 80s across north central Florida. By 4 p.m., breezy and warm, temperatures closing in that close to 90 degrees here pretty early this time of the year to be talking about 90 degrees. And the heat and the humidity will be fueling the potential for thunderstorms for our friends in the Panhandle tomorrow. On that 1 to 5 scale of severe weather, we're talking a level 4 in places like Mobile, Pensacola, just to the west of Montgomery. And guess what? That threat will shift towards the east as we get into the day Thursday. A level 2 north and west of Gainesville, a level 1 locally here in Gainesville and Ocala. So those storms again are going to return Thursday. Let's time it all out using future radar here. As we go through the morning hours Thursday into the afternoon hours, we'll see those storms get closer and closer to us, eventually arriving after the noon hour. So we'll be keeping a very close eye on that for some strong storms. Again, damaging winds are going to be the main concern with this line as it pushes towards the south and east. You see that cold front in the far upper left hand of your screen. So let's take a look at your 60 forecast. Again, showers and thunderstorms Thursday, Friday, even into Saturday, cooling off slightly for the weekend, highs into the upper 70s. Back to you.
Thanks, Justin. And speaking of weather, I heard the Gators baseball game was rained out last week.
Yeah, hopefully they have a better luck tonight. Jason Bennett has the latest updates on the makeup game when we get back.
You're watching WUFT TV News.
Welcome to sports. I am Jason Bennett. On the diamond, the Florida Gators and the Florida State baseball teams play tonight. This is the makeup game from March 15th that was postponed due to weather going to tonight's game, both teams coming off losses in their home conference games from Sunday. FSU won their first 2 games of the series against Duke but lost the last game. Meanwhile, UF was swept in the last 2 games by LSU after winning the series opening 7-2. The Seminoles rose to 5th in the NCAA D1 baseball rankings while the Gators dropped from 8th to 14th. The Gators are looking to improve over the weekend as Garrett Mitchell is set to start as pitcher for Florida game tonight. Coach O'Sullivan hopes that their pitching changes can make difference.
The bottom line is there's not much we can do about it right now. I mean, I wish I had all the answers right now. I just don't. But I do know that we have a game on Tuesday against Florida State, and we're going to have to figure it out. And then we got a short week going to Georgia. So, we'll make some adjustments on the pitching side of things, but I think the biggest thing is, getting 2 starts that are 3 innings is not going to work. And this offense needs to get going, but when you fall behind by that many runs early, it's hard.
The Gators football program hosted its annual pro day yesterday. The Gators worked out and performed in front of pro scouts and coaches to get an idea of what they'll bring to the NFL table. 16 total Gators participated, including 14 draft-eligible players, and 2 returning players were not fortunate to join the NFL ranks last year. Representatives from 28 out of 32 NFL teams were in place for Gators Pro Day. Defense lineman Zachary Carter, running back Damian Pierce, and cornerback Kerry Elam are expected to get the most attention from NFL teams. Moving to softball, UF has a busy weekend ahead. Florida prepares to face number 23 UCF tonight at 6, then a quick turnaround on Thursday as they head to Alabama for a weekend series against Auburn. After a 4-win victory over number 15 Tennessee this past weekend, the Gators look to keep that winning streak alive. Both teams won their series matchups this past weekend. UCF previously fell to Florida 12-11 on February 27th in Orlando. The game takes place tomorrow at 6. Moving to lacrosse, after picking up 2 wins this past week, the 10th-ranked lacrosse team heads to play Mercer tomorrow. The Gators and Bears are meeting for the second time in program history, with Florida holding a 1-0 series advantage. Last time these 2 teams met, the Gators defeated Mercer 23-5 in the first round of the 2021 NCAA Double Tournament. Both teams look to keep their winning streak alive as Florida beat Arizona State 21-10 and Mercer defeating Stetson 22-12 on Sunday. The matchup kicks off tomorrow at 3. Shifting out of Gator sports, March Madness is almost over. The women's NCAA tournament basketball Final Four is set. Currently, the Final Four wins bracket is South Carolina, Stanford, UConn, and Louisville. 3 number 1 seeds are making their way to Minneapolis after a double overtime thriller. The second seeded UConn will join them in the national semifinal. The women's Final Four is set for Friday. South Carolina play Louisville at 7, and Stanford match up against UConn at 9:30.
Thanks, Jason. Key West is celebrating its 200th year since it became an official U.S. territory. Back in 1822, U.S. Navy Lieutenant Matthew Perry planted the American flag on the island. Fast forward to 2022, a waterfront ceremony was held at Mallory Square in honor of this action. Locals have celebrated this day in honor of Key West and its importance for past generations.
What this day means to the city of Key West, we have so many people here that are so proud of our community. As you can hear through the speeches today, we're a very resilient community who have overcome many obstacles in the past 200 years, and we are still here today better than ever. And it's a tribute and testament to the hardy souls that call Key West home and have for 200 years.
Key West officials and children also brought personal items to fill a granite time capsule. Locals decades from today may be in for a surprise. But before we go, one last check on the weather.
Well, we've got one more warm and sunny day ahead before thunderstorms make our return. That will be on Thursday. Some of these storms will likely stick around for the upcoming weekend. In the meantime, tomorrow, temperatures will top out near 90 degrees, very, very close, upper 80s here. We'll start the day with some fog. Just be mindful of that if you've got that early morning commute. Showers and storms arrive later in the day Thursday. Again, some of those storms on Thursday could bring some damaging winds with them. Of course, we'll be keeping an eye on those storms. Temperatures will be falling just a few degrees, a little closer to average, in fact, by Saturday and Sunday into the upper 70s. Again, we'll hold on to the chance for some scattered showers and storms. Back to you.
Thanks, Justin. BBC World News is next, and the PBS NewsHour is coming up at 7. I'm Landry Baliton.
But your Florida news is always on at WUFT.org. I'm Meleah Lyden. Have a great night.